Hi everyone, in this episode of Ask Polaron Live, we dive deep into Karta Polaka. We're here with Polaron's European citizenship specialist Maggie Stephen, as well as Polaron's director and founder Eva Hussein. Over to you, Eva.
Thank you, Andrea, for that kind introduction, and hello to you, Maggie.
Hello.
Hi. Look, the other day we posted a bit of information about Karta Polaka, and it was one of the most popular posts we've had in a long time. What is Karta Polaka?
So Karta Polaka is a program for people which have Polish heritage. The actual Karta Polaka does not grant you rights. It does not grant you citizenship automatically, but it does give you right to live and work in Poland. So it does give you residency rights. After 12 months of residence in Poland, you are able to apply for recognition as a Polish citizen. And from that point on, your rights also expanding on European Union.
Right, okay. So it sounds like a really attractive system. And essentially, I hope you agree with me, Maggie, it is for people who do not qualify for Polish citizenship through descent. And it was put in place by the Polish government back in 1970s and was only available to those who lived in the, well, former now USSR, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. So through the process, we'll need to prove that your ancestors held Polish nationality. So it's a little bit different than your eligibility for confirmation of the Polish citizenship. So process by descent, where we have to prove your ancestors held Polish citizenship. So that's the difference. And it is correct. You cannot be eligible for citizenship by descent in order to apply for that process.
Right. In fact, when your Karta Polaka is granted, it's valid for 10 years. But if you become a citizen of Poland through recognition, Karta Polaka gets cancelled and you're no longer able to hold it. So in 2009, Maggie, Karta Polaka was extended to all the countries in the world. And I guess it's, I see this as a handshake by the Polish government or some sort of a recognition of people whose ancestors left and they lost their Polish citizenship for some reason. That's fair to say, yeah?
I think it is fair to say, it does give a lot of options to all those people which have Polish heritage in the United States, in Canada. And we know there was a significant immigration before Poland received its independence. So, those people not necessarily going to have a pathway to get citizenship straight away, but they have that option to move to Poland, to apply for Karta Polaka and still work there.
Okay. So in summary, what do you need to be able to apply for Karta Polaka? What's the eligibility there, Maggie?
So you need at least one parent or grandparent to be of Polish nationality, or you have to have two Polish great-grandparents, or you need 3 years of active Polish community involvement. And based on that, you become eligible to apply. There are some other requirements, like, for example, you need some basic knowledge of Polish language, traditions, customs, that kind of stuff, just to prove that you are really feeling Polish as well.
Right. So it's also about your identity, yeah?
Correct.
So, because just so that everybody understands, you can be a Polish citizen, but be of another nationality, right? So can you explain briefly to us the difference between citizenship and nationality as it operates under the Polish law?
Yes. So citizenship will apply, well, you are a citizen if you have, for example, Polish passport. And because Polish borders were so fluid, they were shifting so much, you had so many different nationals living within Polish borders and having Polish passports, so being a Polish citizens. So for example, Ukrainians, Belarusians, those people were of that nationality, but they were also Polish citizens, sorry. So that's the difference, roughly.
Right. And therefore, to prove your eligibility for Karta Polaka, when you go for your interview at the Polish consulate, you need to be of Polish nationality, and therefore they ask you to speak some basic Polish at that, interview, and also understand, as you said, the customs, the traditions, and history of Poland, also geography. And once you go for the interview at the consulate, which is a requirement, your Karta Polaka is valid for 10 years after that. Is that right? And you just renew it?
Yes, that's correct. You just renew it, but then after 12 months, you can also apply for recognition, which is actual Polish citizenship. So this is always an option.
Right. So it's a different pathway to citizenship that requires for you to be recognized as a citizen, you need to reside in Poland for 12 months continuously. And pass a language test. So some people get very intimidated by the Polish language, but what we say is that at the interview level, your Polish language skills don't need to be that advanced, and they're not tested. There's no exam. You just need to be able to hold a conversation at the interview with the consul. But if you do want to activate, and you can activate Karta Polaka anytime, there's no requirement for you to move to Poland at any time. But let's say you do, after 12 months of living there, you can apply to be recognized as a citizen. And there is a language requirement, I think at B1 level or something like that. B1, yeah, yeah. But, hopefully if you lived in you live in a country for 12 months, you can learn the language. But yeah, it's one of those things that people get a bit nervous about, yeah?
Yeah, but it's not that difficult, especially if you live in Poland. English is my second language, so
yeah.
I really learned English by just migrating to England, and that was the best way. That was the best improvement for my language. Yeah,
immersion. So that people know, if you do work with us on Karta Polaka, of course, we've got language lessons, and they specialized, our teachers actually specialize in teaching Polish as a second language, because there's quite a skill, and they know how English works, and they're English speaking, of course, so that they can really give you the skills for the interview and prepare you for that. Maggie, why would people pursue Karta Polaka versus citizenship? What would be one of the reasons that it may be attractive to some of the people that are listening to us now, and there's quite a few?
Well, if someone has plans to move to Poland, if they have any job secured, if they're thinking about education there, that would be the pathway open to those people, rather than people which proceeding with citizenship by descent. They very often have plans based in European Union, not necessarily Poland. Of course, depends from individual circumstances, but Karta Polaka focus rather on Poland itself.
Right. And having worked with a number of people who have been successful, and recently we had a couple in March approved, I know that it sounds scary, but actually it was a smooth process, and it's just that you need to know what documents to supply, how to prepare for the interview, what level your Polish needs to be. And we even do mock interviews, Maggie. I don't know if you know this, but we prepare we over-prepare. We're high achievers here at Polaron, let's put it that way. All right, so in summary, as we're running out of time a little bit, Maggie, what is Karta Polaka?
Well, it's a program open to people with Polish heritage to give them residency rights in Poland. And after 12 months, they can apply for citizenship. Just a short summary.
And if you're considering Karta Polaka, who should you go and work with, Maggie?
With Polaron, with us, of course.
Okay, excellent. But in all seriousness, if anyone is watching that might think, moving to Poland is a great idea. It's a really good place to live and work. Karta Polaka is just one thing that can fast track you to Polish citizenship, provided you are of Polish nationality, not citizenship, two different things. You can prove it, you can learn a little bit of Polish and stay in Poland for more than 12 months, whereby you get recognized as a citizen rather than granted citizenship or get citizenship confirmed. Yeah?
Correct.
Okay, amazing. Well, thank you. And if anyone needs to know any more, you feel free to contact us. Our contact details will be in the comments there on the post. Maggie, thank you very much for your time. And, you know, I'm saying hello to you from a rainy Sydney today, but I hear that it's getting warmer in Melbourne, yeah?
Yes, a little bit, but it's still Melbourne.
Yeah, that's right. The weather's a bit up and down. All right, everyone, thank you for listening. Any questions, let us know, and we'll be catching up with Maggie on a regular basis for short live sessions like this. If you have any questions you'd like us to cover or topics, let us know as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Maggie.
Bye.